Right after I received my master's in business at MSU, for the summer I was an intern in the Secretary of State's office. The Secretary of State was James M. Hare. He was an institution. He'd been around a long time. He was a good guy, and I was assigned to be kind of a gopher, a runner, at the Elections Division. And I worked with Bernie Apol, who was a fabulous public servant and took a great interest in my career and was really a wonderful person. He ran the Elections Division for many, many years, and he was succeeded by Chris Thomas. But I couldn't practice law there. And I helped conduct recounts, which are really interesting. I once conducted a recount in St. Clair County, Port Huron, where the actual result changed because they'd written that when they transposed votes from the poll book to the canvas sheet, that a 7 got changed to a 4 by accident, or maybe it was a 9 to a 7, but it changed the result. God, that was very sad for the guy who thought he'd won and really lost. Anyway, so Secretary of State's office, but I couldn't practice law because in Michigan, rightly so, those who practice law must do so for the Attorney General. And so Eugene Krasicki, our neighbor, got me an interview with Frank Kelly's people, and I transferred over to Frank Kelly's office. And that was a tremendous experience. We only had maybe 100 lawyers at that time. We were all young. We tried cases. You got a lot of experience at a young age. I was trying different cases on behalf of state agencies, so I learned a lot about government and was, of course, interested in Frank Kelly's career, his political career, as well as, trying the cases. So it was a wonderful experience and learned a lot about government, the structure of government. And somewhere in there, Sandra Levin, who was the Senate leader, decided to run for governor. He was the Democratic leader in the Senate. He was a state senator from where I had grown up, Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge. And so I went over and volunteered to help Levin at night and started writing him memos, started doing different assignments. And eventually he said, I want you to go up to Bay City and go see Bob Traxler and see if you can organize Bay County. I'm having an impossible time there. I went up, we got it organized. He said, now try Saginaw. Go see Jerry Hart, state senator. I went up to Saginaw. We got it organized. And then I went to Muskegon with Mike Kobza and Jim Kobza, and then Grand Rapids, and then Kalamazoo. One thing led to another. Pretty soon organized the UP, and I recruited Tom Baldini, who he still is a dear friend, to organize the Upper Peninsula. So pretty soon I was kind of in charge of most of the outstate areas for Sandra Levin for governor. And this was in my evening, so he convinced Frank Kelly to free me up from civil service so that I could help Levin. And that was a big break. And and then Frank realized I could be valuable politically, not just as a lawyer. And so I ended up being somewhat of an advisor to Frank, although his deputy, Leon Cohen, was his key advisor. But I worked there with Mike Hodge, who ended up being my legal advisor years later, with Larry Glazer, who was my legal advisor, who I was privileged to appoint a circuit judge. So a lot of us go back many years. And that's the thing about public service. You need experience. With experience comes wisdom, and with wisdom comes judgment. And a lot of the people who are really successful start at a very young age. And they work at places like the Attorney General's office or in the legislature or in an agency. Or they cover it as a journalist. They work at it and they learn about it and they learn from others. And I did. I learned from a lot of people. I got a lot of help and very lucky. But being an assistant AG really prepared me as much or more for being governor as being a member of Congress. So it was great.